In the narrow, winding streets of Morocco's Medinas, or old cities, laden donkeys vie for space with the human inhabitants. Such places have changed little in centuries, and those who live in them prefer the ways of a bygone age. The quaint charm is also attractive to foreign tourists, who increasingly are not just visiting, but buying a place in the souk. The exotic images of North Africa have been widely used by writers and painters. The fantasy survives in the cool interiors of courtyard houses, where traditionally dressed servants pander to their masters. These mansions are highly decorated with tile mosaics, fountains and high ceilings, adding to the feeling of gracious living. That's all part of the attraction for Westerners buying one of these riads, literally meaning garden. It's a new trend in many of Morocco's historic cities. Traditional homes are falling into foreign hands as a new property boom establishes itself. Some Moroccans, like Riyadh owner Omar Lebar, don't object to the influx, but actually welcome it.
Alors, le fait que les étrangers viennent en nombre acheter les
foreigners are coming in large numbers to buy homes here in Fez can't, in my opinion, have any influence.
Fez a toujours été ouverte à toutes les civilisations. Et elle permet aussi,
on the contrary, Fez has always been open to other cultures.
La conception des maisons en particulier, qui sont renfermées sur eux-mêmes.
And this sort of house, because of its inward-looking design, allows its occupants to live as they wish inside. But because you share a roof and streets with others, people generally have a different attitude outside.
En général ont un autre comportement.
Fez has the largest Medina in North Africa. Around 1 million Moroccans live and work in the old city. There are 350 mosques. But many houses are in poor condition and need restoration. Long years of neglect have meant everything from roofs to screens and plumbing need to be repaired or replaced. For many of the new foreign owners, making the houses habitable costs more than buying it in the first place. There are also practical difficulties, such as dealing with workmen in a foreign language and with different customs and practices. It's always a gamble buying an old property and trying to restore the place. The new Riyadh owners can take pride in conserving a little piece of history, but some find it difficult to cope.
When we first came down, it was, beautiful house, and it was very much intact when we bought it, very good condition. So we thought, oh, it's just brilliant, it'll be wonderful. And then, of course, we had to redo the wiring and the plumbing, so all of a sudden the house was just torn to bits. The walls are open, the sewers are open, everything's open, and it just looks terrible. And it's hard to deal with for a while. You just think, I've destroyed this. I'm like, what have I done? But slowly, we're putting it back together, and there have been times when it's just been so difficult that we just thought, I can't go on like this. I don't feel like I have control over anything that's going on under my roof.
Some of the larger buildings are being restored as tourist accommodation, which has caused a problem. Established hoteliers are concerned at what they see as an unregulated invasion of their territory.
Pour moi, ça, c'est des parasites qui,
as far as I'm concerned, they're parasites. With a small amount of money, they buy an old house and tidy it up.
On la retape. Je dis bien on la retape.
It's not a real restoration.
Des rénovations. Et ils se croient donc.
They think it's easy to make money like that.
De faire de l'argent comme ça. Et ceux-là, c'est vraiment des
parasites. They're true parasites, as they escape any taxes and pay everything cash.
Donc, il y a du noir. Les gens encaissent.
The money goes straight into their pocket. Whether they declare any income at all, there's a big question mark.
On sait pas.
The attractions of staying in a riad are obvious. But according to hoteliers, when a foreign-owned building is rented out as self-catering accommodation or turned into an unofficial hotel, the lack of regulations and official approval could be a problem.
Les autres, ils trouvent les choses tellement faciles.
The others find things easy because they don't have any of these responsibilities. And their rooms cost as much as ours, if not more.
Je pense que c'est là où il faut qu'on soit vigilant.
Somehow it seems disloyal. I think we have to be vigilant.
Je pense qu'on a intérêt à
it's worthwhile regulating this new sort of accommodation before it's too late.
Avant que ce soit trop tard.
I certainly don't hope anything would happen. But if there are any accidents involving clients,
mais si on a des accidents avec
really
des clients, ça peut faire très très mal à la destination.
The trend for foreigners buying Moroccan riads began here in the walled city of Marrakesh. It's the gateway to the south and a city famous for its colourful architecture and inhabitants. The central square, Jemaa al-Fanar, is a stage for Marrakesh's wide array of street performers. But a French fashion designer is acknowledged as the vanguard of new European riad owners. This is Yves Saint Laurent's house. Its gardens are now open to a curious public. Saint Laurent's move inspired his chic Parisian friends and supporters to follow his example and buy a second home in what they saw as bohemian Marrakesh. The word spread, and over the past few years, the pace of foreign ownership has accelerated. Those with an eye to business immediately saw the riad's potential for exclusive and expensive holiday accommodation, which does not suffer downturns as badly as hotels do.
The riads in Marrakesh have experienced a reduction in the number of visitors, but not as severely as hotels. It only went down by 20 or 30% for two reasons. Each house only has a few rooms. And secondly, most are owned by foreigners, people who act as their own agents back home.
Many residents of Fez believe foreign restoration of riads is a welcome and timely boost for the Medina. Cramped old houses are often on the point of collapse. Centuries of wear and tear have made foundations unstable and walls unsafe. Each year, a few of these buildings collapse with fatal consequences, so some Moroccans believe any help should be welcomed.
I don't see any other way to save this Medina, because most of people, they used to live in the city, quit the city 50 or 45 years ago. And nowadays, the people living in Medina, they come from the countryside and they are penniless. They can't afford restoring anything. And most of the time, there are 20 and sometimes more, 30 families in the same house. And some of them, they have no running water, no electricity, and just beside that, you have a huge house where there is all the modern facilities.
Fez abounds with examples of high-quality Medina restorations, cheek by jowl with slums. Inheritance laws can leave houses crumbling, while heirs to an estate agree on what to do. Some wealthy families simply abandon their homes. Enterprising servants left behind now take tourists on tours of the grander riads, where they've lived unchallenged for years. Such tours earn a former retainer and his family a good living, although any future owner will have to deal with squatters as well as a massive renovation job. Either way, Morocco's government seems happy.
When people buy property, they tend to come back and be faithful tourists to Morocco versus hotel tourism, which is by definition more volatile and depending on the economic cycle. And the second positive impact is that the riad owners do inject wealth in ancient cities in Medina. Since they buy riads, they rehabilitate them, and they contribute to maintaining our beautiful Medinas.
Restoring and caring for historic buildings make the place look great and provide some employment. The danger is that these ancient Medinas might become playgrounds for the rich and lose the very essence that made them attractive in the first place.
Africa can... Music helps to revive Medina in Morocco. Don't miss that. And welcome. Wondering where Femi Oke is this week? Well, worry no longer. She's been standing by to tell us what she has up her sleeve for this week. Femi?
Well, I can't exactly get the city of Fez up my sleeve, but that's where we're going to. A fringe festival in the city of Fez in Morocco proves to have some very practical fringe benefits. Sylvia Smith has the story.
The exuberant sounds of the McCullough Sons of Thunder from New York perform for free in the Fez Medina. It's all part of the Fringe Festival in Morocco.
Our Fringe Festival is to invite people, the public and the people of Fez to come to the open houses in the Medina, to join in and listen to the local musicians, to see work by local artists and craftsmen, and to generally participate in what the life of Fez is all about.
And the festival has many economic benefits. Reducing unemployment is just one of the spin-offs.
Of course, it revitalizes the city. It brings clients for restaurants and taxis for craftsmen. But above all, it creates publicity. And word of mouth is the best publicity in the world.
Visitors are drawn into the Medina, where they discover its traditional old houses. That has started a trend here. Now, many people are buying and renovating the houses. Houses that would otherwise fall into ruin and disrepair are now being given a fresh coat of paint and a new life.
Luckily, there's not a lot of structural work to be done. I mean, obviously, the electricity and the plumbing needs to be completely overhauled. But other than that, it's a bit of plaster work, a bit of, tidying up some of the tiles.
Restoration allows countless Moroccans to earn a living, while others open up small select hotels. The Fringe Festival may not have started out with an economic aim, but music is certainly proving invaluable when it comes to bringing fresh life to the oldest part of town. For CNN's Inside Africa, I'm Sylvia Smith in Fez, Morocco.
Did you see that gorgeous blue sky? There's something wrong with this picture here, I have to say. There's Sylvia under the blue skies of Fez in Morocco. I overheard Tumi speak to Jeff Kwanyange, who said it's another beautiful night in Africa. And I'm the weather person. I need to talk to the team here, Tumi. I'm indoors and they're all out there enjoying the gorgeous weather of Africa.
Well, you've been there before, Femi, so you can just think back
Never
a while
enough.
to your holiday.
Never enough.
Thanks again.
See you
in a
soon.
bit.
Bye.
Now, what do you get when you combine the culture and spiritual traditions of Africans and African Americans with storytelling, music and dance?